Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to everybody who's been here before, or welcome if it's your first time. I'm the Eagle fan. I react to music on this channel, and this is finally part 3 of a trilogy that I started. I've been a little out of the game for a little while here, trying to get myself back on my feet into some sort of a schedule. And looking forward to this. This artist is a modern day bard. He can tell a story and definitely get a point across. So, without any further ado, other than me coughing, I apologize. This is Ren, Money Game Part 3. This looks like it's a little bit of a longer one, so there's going to be a few little pauses in between to talk. I'm curious. The opening screen shows a piano. So let's see what we've got. And go. Sorry.
Let me tell you a story about a boy named Jimmy. 1 year old and his first words were mine, mine, gimme. 2 years old he was walking, 3 years old walking quickly. 4 years old he was running round the pavements of his city. 5 years old and his daddy told him, listen here son, you gotta learn to be a man he works for what he wants. 6 years old.
Okay, sorry. I had no idea where to stop it there. I like this so far. And I'm probably going to like it at the end. Who am I kidding? I've really liked a lot of what I've heard from Ren. And again, oh God, I'm so sorry. Modern day bard is the best way I can explain him. He is the Shakespeare of this day and age. Anyway, hope I'm not fanboying a little bit too much there, but I like this. It starts out with him on the piano with the bag on his head, then getting replaced The other person, who I believe was also from part two, who ended up on the ground at the end of that. And now he's telling us a story. And I think I see where this story's going. I have a feeling it's going to be this child learning greed from his father, I believe. Because that's pretty much what this series has been about, is greed in society, and how, in my opinion, we're hitting that end stage capitalism, which is a very dangerous thing. And we need everybody to know that. But let's keep going.
And he's reading, writing, top of the bunch. And when he's 7, his progression made him student number 1. 8 years old and he's praised for unusual grades. 9, his parents paid for private school to nurture the flame. 10, 11, 12, 13, he ascends and ascends. His daddy tells him, son, money is the means to all ends. 14, solving complex mathematical equations. At 15, IQ 150, still elevating. 16, he develops complex software code that detects weaknesses in cybersecurity protocols. 17, and he sells his vision, keeping the share. Not yet an adult, but he's practically a millionaire. 18, and his daddy tells him, now you're a man. This world don't give a damn about you, so take all that you can. 19, he turns a profit, stocks and shares, invest in product. 20, double down deposits. 21, his income rockets. 22, he learns the truth is just an obstacle to wealth. If you manipulate the data, then a lie will sell itself. 23, a life of luxury, crystal and cocaine. 24, he makes the Forbes list, they're applauding his name. 25, and his daddy tells him, listen here son, while you're sitting in that palace, that don't mean that you won. 26, a business shift, he switches business to arms. He's 27, dealing nuclear and shells in Iran. 28, inside the Senate, money bought him a seat. He's 29, a role of counsel in the president's suite. Now he's 30, his daddy says you're losing the race. You're just a servant to the king, not even in second place. 31, a big maneuver for his daddy's approval, moving imports over borders from the exports out of Cuba. 32, moving grams, growing kilos to tons. He's 33, filling warehouses with powder and guns. 34, turf war with nobody to stop it. Blind eye from the po-po inside of his pocket.
Okay, I think that might be a decent spot to pause. He's definitely painting a story here that I think has lived out in front of us in many ways. It's a sad story. The person he's talking about is winning, but at what costs? Money should be seen as a way to help people get out of their situations, a way to help people live a normal life. Unfortunately, it's hoarded and hoarded and hoarded by these psychopathic, egotistical narcissists that really provide nothing to the world. If there are some that do, they get looked down upon by the others. And even those that do, there's obviously much more that they could do with what they have. It's kind of a sad state that we've gotten ourselves into. End stage capitalism, the gap between the haves and the rest just keeps getting bigger. And we need to understand that the 1% that rule us need to keep us divided so they will use every trick they can to keep us looking anywhere but at them. Saw a good video recently. Described this perfectly. It's not right versus left. It's up versus down. And the 99% down here on the down. They're up there looking and saying, let's give this group, these people to dislike, and by doing that, this group will dislike them. Just keep telling each of them that the other one is after what they have. And we've been so blinded that we've just allowed it to continue. I'm going to get back to this song, but we're going to table that for now. Get back to the song. I'm going to have a little bit more of my brownie here. It's cold, snow on the ground outside, so I did some baking and made myself some brownies earlier. Warmed up the house, and it smells good in here now. So I love freshly baked brownies. That's all I can say. They taste good. They're warm, chocolatey. Chef's kiss. Let's watch a little more. I believe he's 34-ish now. 33, 34. We'll find out.
35, he gets the call. I'm sorry, son, but it's your father. Had a heart attack, I'm sorry, he's gone. 36, getting pissed up, abusing his product. 37, eyes glazed, disposition demonic. 38, with a prostitute, a moment of passion. Heating up a silver spoon and then chasing the dragon. 39, getting reckless and hungry for power. Daddy's words are still driving him to kill and devour. Makes a move against the cartel, but the strategy's flawed. They retaliate and leave him in a hospital ward. A bullet buried in his vertebra and one in his leg. The doctor sighs and says, I don't think you'll be walking again. Fuck.
I love that little moment of just despair and realization that he put in there.
Let me tell you a story about a boy named Jimmy. He was 40 and he cursed the words, mine, mine, gimme. 41 he wasn't walking, 42 not walking quickly, 43 never running round the pavements of his city, 44 inside a palace with a mountain of gold. But those riches turn to rubble when perspective evolves. Weighing heavy on his conscience is the value of gold. Lamborghini for a life, trading money for souls. Jimmy followed the code inside the land of the free. Put your hand inside the cookie jar, take more than you need. And his example is exaggerated versions of me. And it's a version of him, and it's a version of she, and it's a version of you. There's no escaping the blame. The way we live is parasitic. Fuck the money and fame. Cut the music.
Okay. He said cut the music. I think that was a perfect spot to stop. Again, he paints such a good story. And sadly, this is a story you can kind of see playing out. And if he's going the direction that I think he's about to go, well, I don't want to say that before I see that. He might be going back into the discussing more negatives about the system. So I don't want to say that where he's about to go is... Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm just overthinking things here. Let's just keep going. Let's hear the rest of his tale.
This isn't entertainment. This is real life. The way we live is lunacy, community, it declines. Hyperpolarized, always fighting, then we divide. Truth is less important than the money that we designed. Money's an invention. Politics from our invention. They all come from people's ideas. Did I mention? Border's an invention. Law and order fuel the tension. It leads to people killing each other. My solution? Everything is subject to change. We could build utopias if individuals were taught to use their brains. But if we teach kids in schools to always be sheep and put themselves before the herd if there's more money for me, then there's no future I see where the humans survive with parasites inside a petri dish with cannibal minds. Mold will grow upon the surface and consume till it dies. And our fate could be the same without this story to the wise. "45. Jimmy comes home out of the rain, soaking wet upon a wheelchair, drinking again. He is everything he wants, he is fortune and fame. He's a fortunate fool with an unfortunate fate. With a 45 caliber aimed at his brain. 45 a fitting number cause his age is the same. Here's the words of his father, it's such a damn shame. Then he presses on the trigger of a money game.
Okay. Sorry. That was art. That was art. And it means so much. He says so much in these 3 videos. And that last one just encapsulated it perfectly. There is an us against them there. But we're not seeing it. Because the them are that 1%. And what they are doing is trying to keep us at each other's throats. Because then it's easier to get their way. There is no need for people having these insane, obscene amounts of money when you've got people that are living in poverty and can't get out because the 1% will keep their boots on their throats because they need that poverty to have their control. We need to do better. We need to be better. I've said it before. Let's make this the world we want it to be, the world it should be. Look across the aisle. Talk. Get a communication going. Don't allow for hate, though. But maybe try to curb that hate. I used to be on the brainwashed side. There were certain people that I did not like because I was taught growing up negative things about them. And as I've grown, as I have encountered more people, more different races of people, more different nationalities of people, more different sexual orientations of people, more different gender identities of people. You know what you learn when you actually sit down and talk? You learn that people are people. They all have their ups and their downs. They all have their good and their bad. Don't allow your masters, that 1% ruling class, don't allow them to tell you how you should think about this other group. Get down in the mud, mingle, talk to people, and learn. Yes, yes, there might be some awful people in all of those groups. But that doesn't mean the group is bad. I've I grew up going to a religious school from kindergarten through 12th grade. There were so many things I was taught. I was so isolated from minorities in that school. There were only a handful. And there was underlying racism there. And dealt with that in family situations as well. So when you learn that, it sticks for a little bit. Then I got into an industry where I started to work with more people of all different types. And I learned some of the greatest people I have met have been other races, other nationalities, other religions, no religion at all. And then you start to see the lies that you were told when you were younger. The whole gay agenda thing. Oh, I hadn't really known if I had met or talked to people of, different sexual orientations, different gender roles, such and such. But once I really knew who I was talking to and dealing with, I found out that there is no gay agenda. The only agenda there in any of that is just to live their lives. Yes, again, there are people who fit this whole money game thing that are in all of those groups, who will, in many cases, sell out their own group just because they can see a money-making opportunity. Look at the popular, there's several popular right-wing one-offs who will be their mouthpiece because they know, oh, I can make a little bit more money if I just sell out everything about me to be able to spout that agenda, which then makes things so much worse. People that do that are almost worse than the groups who hate them, because you're fueling that hate, and it's disgusting, utterly disgusting. So let's stop, take a breath, and talk. Realize who the true enemies are. Your Musks, your Zuckerbergs. Look at them. Look at the CEOs. Look at the gap between what the CEOs make and what everyone else makes. And it's not justified. Not at all. Go back 50 years and look at that gap. It's much smaller. If companies want tax breaks, maybe we need to make it so that their lowest paid employees can't be more than X number of times or percentage or whatever below what your CEOs and your upper level are making. So don't have that gap. You narrow the gap. Raise the C, so to speak. Bring the lower up so that they can live just a good life. Not to be rich. Many of these people are not looking to be rich. They just want to live their life without having to worry where their next meal is coming from. Or you don't even have to go to the poverty level for this next. Being terrified that a medical emergency is going to happen and that is going to bankrupt them. That any middle class person is worried about that. I'm worried about that. I have a genetic condition. I've already had an operation from it. Luckily, that was before the insurance got even worse. So I at least was limited to, I think back then it was $6,000 or $7,000 out of pocket. It's much more than that now. And it shouldn't be like that. There's really ways we can fix this. We just need everybody to do it. Don't get complacent. It's easy to get complacent. Call your representatives. Tell them you've had enough. We need term limits on them. We need term limits on the Supreme Court. We need a lot of checks put in place on the Supreme Court. We have corrupt people on that court taking money, vacations, you name it, from outside influences, and then, surprisingly, or not really, ruling in their favor on various things. Clarence Thomas should be removed from office already. Many of the others as well. But Clarence Thomas is a huge fraud, a huge criminal, and immoral as hell. Get rid of him. Get him off those courts. Okay, I'll stop there before I get on too much more of a soapbox. And remember, be good to each other out there. Let's fix this. Let's make this the world we want it to be, not the world that it is. Other generations have left the world better for future generations. We failed. We failed. We're making it worse. And what's even worse is I've seen so many pathetic, petty little posts taunting the later generations and acting like, well, I had to suffer, they need to suffer. No, the idea is maybe we suffered so they don't have to. Check your humanity if you don't think that. I was very touched by a video I watched recently to see that there are good people out there. And this was in a very poor country. The person in the video was going around to see is what greed was like. And basically what they did, went to a person and she talked to the person and then gave that person an opportunity. Offered a certain amount of money with two options. Either take that amount of money or double that amount of money for the next person she talks to. And I was very touched to see, especially because many of these people that she was talking to had their own stories that you could tell they needed that money. But they were selfless in many cases and said, double it for the next person. They might need it more than I do. That was touching. Because that wasn't a country, and hearing everything that she was being told, these were people who could have used that money. But their thoughts were for others, and that there might be someone who needs it more than them. That was touching. That was very touching. And I know if you went through the 1%ers and gave them those options, I know what they would choose. They would take the money. Granted, it would have to be a higher amount of money for them that would mean the same to these poor, in many cases, poverty-stricken people. And that should tell you all you need to know. Don't let the 1% ruin it for the rest of us. 99% is a much bigger voting block. Let's think about that. And I will say thank you if you've made it this far. Oh my gosh. If you have made it this far, give me a hashtag. I don't know how I made it that far. And let me know what you want me to react to. I still have lists of these. I'm going to, hopefully once I can get myself back into a pattern, into a little bit of a rhythm here, I will start going back to my suggestions. But thank you guys for joining me. Oh my gosh, did I get off on a major tangent here. Thank you guys again. Until next time, everybody. Take care. And keep your eyes to the sky, because you never know what you might see. I am going to have the rest of this brownie. I will talk to you later. And see you later. Bye.